Metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely.
Welcome to another episode of the Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen. We're here again, the greatest think tank ever assembled, no debate. And we're just going to keep unpacking the absurdity of the simulation, and we're going to see where it takes us. For now, before I get started, before I hop into this salaciousness, how you brothers been doing this week?
I'm good. I got my dick out.
Fantastic. I got a week ban from YouTube, but I'm doing good.
Nice. YouTube bans, exposed penises. And by the way, that just means we're ready. We're locked and loaded. That's all that means. It's nothing offensive. So yeah, get used to it. This is the new slang for being ready for anything. But yeah, man, one of the most popular things going on here this week happened to be Donald Trump again. He's in the news bigly. He's all over the place, letting people know that he's about to get arrested, which is in and of itself kind of special. I mean, how many people know when they're going to get arrested? To be able to announce it to their following, like, yo, be prepared to, do some sightseeing around some government buildings. You might want to be prepared to start doing some tourist activities because I'm going to get arrested. So
only drug dealers have the luxury.
And you got to be a high-level drug dealer to know when you're going to get arrested. Not just a regular, on the corner of the wire slinging dime sacks kind of guy. You got to be pretty high up. And not saying that Donald Trump's a drug dealer. I'm just saying. You got to be pretty high up in the ranking system to know when you're going to get arrested. But
yeah, his lawyers called him. He's had his dick out for this. He knows. He knows it's coming. He was prepared.
Which is all that means, by the way. Yeah, he seemed to be prepared. He's ready. And he's telling people to get ready to get busy. What's the word they use? Boogaloo? Let's get ready to boogaloo?
Yeah, electric boogaloo. Electric boogaloo.
Well, let's see. We're going to hop into this Fox News, which is clearly one of the best sources of news on the internet. I mean, you can't get no better than Fox News, from what I hear anyway. Let's see what they're talking about.
Heroes.
Okay, so now back to that Fox News alert. Former President Trump saying this morning that he will be arrested on Tuesday. Trump said that on Truth
That
Social.
within itself.
Yeah.
That within itself.
Well, once you see it, you can't unsee it, right?
Yeah.
I'm about to give you some information. Here's this CGI graphic of something that sounds really important and dangerous. It's like a roll of red danger duct tape. It's just the size of the globe. It's big and metallic. It's shiny. It's an alert. It's like to trigger all of your senses that there's danger. You hear metal clanging. You see the color red. There's a sound. It's Pavlovian.
Clear and present danger. Right now, you need to pack a bug-out bag. Donald Trump is getting arrested on Tuesday.
Alert.
Former President Trump saying this morning that he will be arrested on Tuesday. Trump said that on Truth Social. He said, in fact,
quote, the far and away leading Republican candidate and former president of the United States of America will be arrested next week.
Is that Trump? That's his Twitter picture? Yo, his son is bugging.
We don't even need to know what's going on. We just have to break down these pictures and the alerts.
I'm not on Truth Social, but yes, somebody made him like a I don't know, Captain America / like Domino / like they made it like either a wrestler or a superhero face paint style. And his eyes are all squinty with determination.
It looks like the American Punisher.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly what I'm.
It's the Punisher, but instead of killing you for being a corrupt cop or something like that, he kills you just because you're not American.
And the flag's impossible, because the blue goes all the way to the left side.
That's true.
Right? So they got the flag wrong.
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
That's an amazing Twitter picture. I'm not even gonna front. I can't lie.
Truth Social. He's not on Twitter. He refuses to come back.
It's giving me some what you call it? William Wallace vibes.
Yep, Braveheart.
Some Braveheart William Wallace.
Yeah, that's what I was
vibes.
thinking. I couldn't think of the fucking name.
Wow. It's Kratos. It's Braveheart. It's the Legion of Doom, the Ultimate Warrior. It's all of that.
All of that. Wow. Hawking animals.
And this is our imagination on a human being that does not care about other people.
Well, allegedly. He may,
There's no alleged for that guy.
He says nobody is compassionate as him. That's what he said. Nobody does compassion like me. I do it bigly. I care about people.
He's
And
been
to
in the
be fair,
WWF world.
He has. I believe he's even gotten in the ring once or twice.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the people that believe in the concept of California Twinkies say that he has never eaten a baby. So or trafficked children. So I think if we're going by the people who look into and believe that sort of thing, they are convinced that he's not in on it.
Oh, okay.
Although announcing his imminent arrest and asking people to go and protest on his behalf.
Because the last time he did that, it worked out so great.
It worked out great. While we just blew up a major oil pipeline going into Western Europe, and apparently there's aliens. All of this is going on, and he announces that he's getting arrested. So it's and by people who know, the more attention that they give him, the more popular he gets. So they can't be that dumb. They can't be that dumb, and they legitimately want to stop him. And they say, you know what we'll do? Completely baseless horseshit. Fuck it, let's arrest him. We've already accused him of treason, which warrants the death penalty. We've already called him a Soviet agent, like he's fucking a double agent Black Widow, tight leather pants, working for Russia. I mean, all the things that have been levied at this dude and this dude has been accused of, and nothing has stuck. And then they're like, you know what? You paid a porn star hush money. Typically, it's a misdemeanor. We're going to upgrade it to a felony. And by the way, we're upgrading it to a felony in a place where we're downgrading all of the armed robberies from felonies to misdemeanor. He didn't even pull the trigger. He just pistol whipped you. He didn't even fire the gun. And meanwhile, if you do fire the gun, not to rob someone, but to protect yourself from getting robbed, or you don't even have a gun. You pick up a knife like our dear brother Ox Poppy, soon to be played by Steven Seagal in an ABC TV miniseries. Abso-fucking-lutely. Ox Poppy protects himself in the bodega from a man that was arguably trying to kill him, or at least do him grave bodily harm. As a young dude, he's an older gentleman, and he just had flashbacks of Castro's Cuba, and he just started slicing him up, and ended up killing him, but defended himself and got sent to Rikers Island. Even though it was all on video, he clearly wasn't the aggressor. He was clearly protecting himself. None of that was considered. The DA was like, fuck it. You protected yourself after you were physically accosted? Go to Rikers Island and wait to maybe we'll give you a trial at some point. So this is the New York and its moral compass and decision making that has said, you know what? You paid a porn star. That's a bridge too far. We got to rustle you up. Get a posse. We got to bring you in. We got to stop the real criminal. It's Donald Trump for hooker payments.
Wait. Hold on. So this isn't about some government stuff. It's not about like misplaced documents. It's not about none of his kids' laptop with hookers and crack smoking. None of that stuff. It's about him allegedly paying a hooker hush money.
Yeah, none of this. This is not federal charges. Now, remember, apparently he did all of these federal crimes, that he was colluding with Russia, right? He was a Soviet asset, a Russian agent. He was a complete colluding, enriching himself, enriching his hotels. I mean, he's been accused of so much shit. Just so much shit.
A lot of stuff, but nothing sticks.
But nothing is panned out. They impeached him twice, and they failed to successfully get him out twice because they had nothing. And he arguably, to the establishment, was the most unpopular candidate, definitely in our lifetimes, and arguably in the last century. Nobody has been that hated by the establishment that's rose to the presidency that I can think of. Maybe Abraham Lincoln by certain constituents, maybe not but he was despised, and they had nothing. So what they did was they went locally, New York, completely democratically run, right? And so they've got the infrastructure in there legally, the DA, the judges, whatever, to line him up to try to make this charge stick. So if he's not in on the California Twinkie ceremonies, then this is a strategic move to get him a felony. Even though it should be a misdemeanor, they've upgraded it to a felony, because if they convict him on a felony, he can't run. Then it doesn't matter how much support he has.
And this is the same New York, but right before 9/11, you had 3 New York City police officers charged with sodomy attack.
It was just a little plunger action. You don't even know that it wasn't consensual. We weren't there. We don't know what happened.
And wait, and how often do charges get upgraded from misdemeanors to felonies as opposed to downgraded to try to secure a conviction?
That I don't know, but again, what makes this seem totally ridiculous and political is the fact that this is one of those George Soros DAs that seems like they're doing everything they can to err on the side of the criminal. And so it's in the context of there being a huge rash of felonies being downgraded to misdemeanors that you're upgrading a misdemeanor to a felony. So again, violent crimes, misdemeanors. Paying a hooker to shut the fuck up, felony.
Why
So,
exactly
it's
is it
brazen.
illegal to pay a hooker to be quiet? I don't understand that part.
I don't know. I thought it was illegal to blackmail. Like so basically, I'm paying the blackmail payment. Therefore, I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's. Wait a minute. That's weird.
Keep
I don't know a lot.
unraveling it.
Keep on unraveling.
I don't know a lot about the law. I will say that. I don't know a lot about the law. I'm not a genius. But it seems like if somebody that's like a cop pulling you over and being like, if you don't want no ticket, give me $100. And you give him $100 and then he arrests you for bribery but keeps the $100.
Yep.
That's exactly what that is. And listen, may I commend you for a brilliant metaphor? No rape analogy even needed. We
Right.
didn't even get anywhere
True.
near rape to make that point. Great
True.
job.
That's true. I mean, I could have been a little bit more
You
creative.
could have, but you didn't.
But
And
no, that's
I'm
pretty
sure
amazing.
that's appreciated. It's
That's
something.
pretty amazing. That's like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And I'm sure, see, this is the thing. This is why people, I think, in my opinion, people get away with so much shit is because you would rather watch your perceived enemy suffer than do what's objectively right.
Yeah.
That's just something that humans have inside them. It's not totally political or totally racial. It's just something that people do. Like, you'll know it's wrong, but you're like, well, I don't like this person, so I'll let it slide. And then, when the boomerang comes back around in the other direction, you're fucked because it's, fuck you, hooray for me. It works both ways. That's the problem. So when you're on the wrong side of that, you're going to want everybody else to help you or see the illogical nature of what's going on. But they're going to be like, nah, fuck that, bro. Let it roll. Let it roll. But and this is what people are celebrating. A hooker tried to blackmail. Well, let's not say a hooker.
She's a hooker.
A porn.
We could say
She's a
hooker.
porn star.
She's a porn
A
star.
sex worker. A sex worker allegedly tried to bribe him.
Which is defined as a hooker. But we got you.
And just to be clear, I mean, porn stars are prostitutes.
Yeah.
Of course.
They're paid to fuck.
True.
Just because you have a camera, now it's not a felony. It's still paying someone to fuck.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
But we
yeah,
don't blame
I mean,
you. You're still a valid.
We don't
human
blame
being.
you. We don't judge you. We got a
Nope.
whole plan for you guys to
Yeah.
come over,
Absolutely.
get you husbands. It's okay.
Exactly.
We'll reintegrate you back because eventually you hoes are going to come to your senses and you're going to be ostracized, and we're going to have a way to get you dipped in the rejuvenating waters with extra salt and cleanse you up with pure vinegars and exotic oils.
Yep.
And reintroduce you into society. Not much different than Marines when they come back home from
Right.
murdering and chopping heads off for 18 months, and they need to go through a debriefing period so they can be reintegrated back into society. You got to get them out of that violent, murderous trauma so they can work at a bank so that they can continue on with their life, right? And we can do the same thing for sex workers. Eventually, they're not going to want to be hoes forever. There's nothing sadder than a 40-year-old stripper.
Oh,
Nothing.
my God.
Or a 40-year-old prostitute.
Mm.
Whew, it's-
Let alone 50,
Hey,
60.
hey.
oh, it
hey.
gets the older you get. It's a young woman's game.
Yes, it is. Very
It's
young.
especially if you're on an island with egg penises. It's a young woman's game, 18 to 28. That's it. You do a 10-year tour of duty if it's for you. You amass millions. You serve a great public service. School shootings go down tremendously. Random shootings, killings in general. You will drop the murder rate by 80% in the course of 12 months. I guarantee it. Especially if you're giving out vouchers for good behavior and the government starts subsidizing sex tickets. I guarantee you'll have people, oh, do we need to pick up any trash on the side of the road? Is there any volunteer work that can be done at all? Absolutely. The government subsidizes it, regulates it. They become a holy...
That's basically the Navy when they dock into a third world country. Sex tickets all around.
You get vagina vouchers. Yeah.
If you're willing to serve your country, you should. If you volunteer at an orphanage for 40 hours, you got 40 hours of orphanage, gruel preparation, keeping these kids off the street, making them feel like somebody cares. The government can't buy you a sex ticket for 40 hours of service. I don't know. I think there's a way to make these young women rich, and also too, that would destroy OnlyFans overnight.
True.
Why would you continue to jerk off to lotioned feet on OnlyFans?
Hey,
actually
get the lotion feet out of this.
When you can get human connection. You can get human connection at a reasonable price and government subsidies if you're willing to serve your community. And these are not women that are going to be traumatized and misused and jaded and kind of just X'd out of society, and no one's going to want to marry them. Like, you're a porn star. None of this shit was on video. You served your time, serviced the community, and it's not going to be gross. We'll get you some vagina plasty, right? We'll tighten it back up. You go on an 18-month debriefing. We just soak you in oils and vinegars and juices and just, basically extract all the semen out of you. Just a purification ritual. It's like a certified used car. We'll put you right back on the dating market. A lot of these dumb bitches are waiting till they're 40 before they even look to consider getting married. You're going to be out there hot, sexually advanced, and under 30.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Again, the greatest think tank ever assembled. Nobody has anything like that they can integrate into a system that's already showing the signs of why it's broken, why it's not working. It's got the social stigmas, all of that, and it's just been solved right here in front of your faces. Again, it's been solved. All you need is rejuvenating waters and a proper debriefing period. And the world is saying, not to mention the crime rate, the murder rate went down 80%. And you get out of the game under 30 with all the skills in the world and still maintain a respectable perspective when society is looking at you.
Because we're going to change the narrative. Do we treat Marines that you fucking served your country for 10 years? Fuck you piece of shit. No, they get free drinks.
Right.
They get honor. They get respect from other dudes. Like, damn, dude, you're tough. You're the real deal. Like, thank you. I'm a pussy. I wouldn't go over there and fight. Right? And some of these other women are like, listen, I couldn't do it. But thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Everybody wants the random shootings to go down, but who's willing to stop them? It's not a good guy with a gun. It's not gun control. It's unfettered royal sex whores. Government subsidized access to the public with a plan not to stigmatize them afterwards, so that it's not exploitative or abuse. It's an honored service. Thank you for your service. You see them, if they want to be known as a vet, you salute them. They can start getting those little, what is it, the American Legion? You know what I mean? Like where ex-military dudes go, there'll be spots just for these whores. Just they get out, they have their own clubs, they get shit for free.
Get a fish fry on the weekend. You get a fish fry. You know what I'm saying?
You get handbags, real handbags, not the bootlegs, like half off. You get shit at cost. There's a whole network involved so that you just get all of these extra perks
for doing the Lord's work.
And you deserve it. Work.
You deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. And you shouldn't be out here blackmailing people and getting them arrested for paying the hush money, bro. What are y'all doing?
Yuck.
It's ridiculous.
And that's what happens when you don't have the sacred whore model. You get Stormy Daniels. You get extortionary bad behavior. By all means. Sorry, please continue.
Take our protest, take our nation back. Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett is here to react. Greg, break this down for us.
Your one job, bitch, is to be able to read.
Right, she did kind of fumble that bag that whole time. Yeah, and she's wearing glasses too.
Protest.
She's
yes,
wilding.
It's protest.
Well, she has all those papers in her hands.
It's gonna look
Right.
important.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So the dudes are sitting there barehanded, just chilling because everything's on the screen. Does she have like real notes, you think, or is this part of the cosplay? This the journalism cosplay? Oh, that's what it is. She still considers herself a journalist. These guys are just anchormen. They're both Ron Burgundy. She wants to be
on the
a
far
real
right
journalist.
like he's constipated.
She wants to be taken seriously, and that's why she's not wearing a skirt. But I guarantee you, one of the dudes handed her those papers right before they went on air, and it says something like, "They're just looking at your tits." I just want you to think about that as you read. They're just looking at your tits, and she was appalled when she looked down at it because it wasn't notes. It was something from one of her co-anchors, and that's maybe why she stumbled on the word protest, which isn't a very big or complicated word, but it gave her some trouble.
He just printed out the script from the first 3 episodes of Three's Company. That's what's on there. That's the first 3 episodes of the Three's Company script. That's all that is. She's like, what is this? Like, don't worry. Just hold it. It doesn't matter. They're just looking at your tits. And that was definitely the guy on the left, for sure. He said that.
Absolutely.
Well, I wrote a column about this because you could see this coming a mile away. It's purely politically driven by Alvin Bragg. And I describe this as the most cockamamie legal theory I think I've ever heard of. Forget about the fact that this is a 7-year-old case and the statute of limitations appears to have elapsed 2 years ago.
What?
But the legal theory is something that is not just novel, it seems abusive of the legal system. Here it is in a nutshell.
Okay, before we let him explain it. Fair use, of course, but he seems pretty mind-boggled by it also. But as I'm watching it, I understand how difficult it is for anybody who is not a Trump fan or not aligned that way politically to want to point out the hypocrisy here. Because I got to say this. So I didn't follow, of course, I don't follow none of this stuff. I don't have a candidate or whatever. I also don't think he's the villain that everybody makes him out to be. I think he's just that type of, jerk, like, Gaston in Beauty and the Beast. Like, he's just one of those people. So it doesn't have to be insidious. It doesn't have to be no deep-seated evil. He's just like a jerk, and he talks a bunch of shit. He's been rich a long time, and that's the easy way to breed an asshole. And it doesn't have to be anything more complicated than that. But I totally understand with all the shit that he's talked, the attitude. Did you ever see that footage when he shook Putin's hand and he like pulled him into him?
Pulled him real close.
Jerk shit. Just 100% jerk shit. And there's a lot of people in the world who want to live vicariously through that because they're not in the position that they're not shielded from getting punched in the mouth. You can't punch Donald Trump in the mouth. He shakes your hand and pulls you toward him. As much as you want to like knock him out, you can't. The cameras are rolling. You got foreign, relations and all of that shit. So you can't just slap him. If you out in the street and you meet somebody and you want to establish the power dynamic in your favor, so you pull them, jerk them in while you shaking their hand, you could get clotheslined. You might get knocked out on the spot. So most people ain't ready to do that, but they love to live vicariously through it. And I can see why it would be difficult to come to this guy's aid. Whether that's just with your support or making a video about it, like, yeah, I hate him, but I don't think he should be getting arrested for this. But that's what it looks like. Because as I'm watching it, just replaying all of the shit that he's been involved in, like all of the energy that swirls around him, I totally could see why somebody would just sit back and be like, fuck it, lock him up, bro. I don't even care. It sucks, but I definitely see the path to, it's a sucky lawsuit. He shouldn't be getting arrested. The statute of limitations passed, but fucker, who cares?
By 2 years.
He needs to be humbled. He needs to be humbled, bro. I hate him. Just lock him up anyway. Yeah, 2 years past the statute of limitations. What do they expect to do? Okay, if it's 2 years past the statute of limitations, that a judge can't even. Are they even allowed to deal with it?
They could do whatever they want.
Yeah, it's all a fiction. We wrote stuff down. We're going to adhere to it. I super duper promise. Like, come on. It works in theory, but humans are going to human. And so there's corruption. I mean, the fact that he's being indicted at all, like it's brazenly corrupt, you know. And as far as like the notion that somebody who hated him would at least have the integrity to be like, yeah, this is some fuckery. This is bullshit. This isn't really a legitimate reason to go after him. You know, like we just don't live in the kind of times where we're gonna see that. But it would be nice if we lived amongst reasonable people. But purely along the tribalistic lines, people are either gonna root for him, that he should definitely, dead president on up, or they're gonna say, he's a traitor. Why are we just arresting him? Why haven't we executed him yet?
Oh,
like that's the disparity between the two sides. Like they've called him treasonous on more than multiple occasions from people in high level positions, like influential people. We talk about minimizing the reach of influencers, with disinformation. Like that's bullshit. We want to control the disinformation. We want to control the narrative, and we're going to make people feel the way that we tell them to feel. And everybody who's kind of on autopilot feels like, oh yeah, we hate that dude. He's treasonous. He tried to take over America with some hillbillies, and he's a Russian agent. He's going to destroy America. He's committed treason. I mean, everybody knows it. Why haven't we executed him yet? Like that's how they talk in those circles. It's crazy.
Damn. So another thing I didn't know, I didn't expect, from knowing who he is and what he's known for over time, I never expected him to come in and be the guy that the establishment was against. He seems like a company guy. But if a company guy means you do California Twinkies and eat babies, then maybe he's not a company guy. I don't know. But everything else, he seems right in line. Like, with the stuff that we can visualize, that we can actually see, he seems right in line with everybody else. So what is it exactly that makes him, and like not, the establishment hates him? What is it that
he
they
doesn't
hate
shut
about
the
him?
fuck up?
He likes money.
He doesn't shut the fuck up.
He likes
to talk.
He likes money like the rest of y'all. He has some some ambiguous behavior when it comes to race. Like, did he fire a bunch of Mexicans? Like, there's a whole bunch of stories. But it just seems like this would be one of their guys. What is it that's putting him beyond the pale with those people?
I think because he won't eat California Twinkies.
Right. It seems like that's the only thing left. He likes money. He runs businesses. He does little scams where he moves the money around. Like that's what y'all do. This is your boy. Why you don't like him? Well, he doesn't eat babies. So he said he was going to drain the swamp. We don't like that. Do you identify with the swamp? Well, He said he was going to drain the swamp, and we didn't like it. That's amazing, though. This dude, he's got himself in a serious one right now. I want to see how this goes.
A business records misdemeanor and tried to transform it, to
business
supercharge
records
it into a felony by attaching to it a second crime. Now, what is the second crime? That's the question we don't know. It can only be one of two things: a campaign violation under state law or federal law. Here's the problem. It can't be a campaign violation under state law because it was a federal election. And it can't really be a campaign violation under U.S. statutory campaign laws because Bragg is a Manhattan DA. Local and state prosecutors can't bring charges on federal crimes, only state crimes.
So did he pay the hooker, the sex worker, from campaign funds?
No, man, this is way before he was being president when he dealt with her.
No, I think it was leading up to the election.
Yeah.
Like 2016. If we look up the date of the payment.
So he took the money that the Boogaloo Boys gave him and paid the hooker.
But
he's been paying hookers with his money.
Not
for
to shut up, though.
generations.
He's been paying them to use their services. That's fine, but you can't pay him to be quiet.
I don't think he handed her a check. Somebody that worked for him handed him a check.
Oh yeah, I did.
Or
see
handed
that.
her a check.
I did
yeah,
see that.
So
And it was a lawyer, some kind of. It was one of
think it
Trump's
was
lawyers. I think they said.
Michael Cohen,
Right.
maybe.
And
Yeah.
he was supposedly had done it without Trump's knowledge because the payment was deemed to be what was it? What is the word they use? The payment was supposed to be like non-disclosure agreement or something like that. So nobody else is supposed to know that you signed a non-disclosure or whatever it is. So even to tell Trump that he was paying her for doing it would make that like a breach or something like that. So he had the perfect reasoning to say, no, I don't know but nothing about her getting paid, because for him to know about it,
sleep with a hooker.
for him to know about it would mean that they were in breach of the contract, that nobody would know about it. So,
But it was also dumb on their part, because it does give the government or your critics something to go after, right? Or to latch on to. There was a similar case. I don't know if we could look it up. John Edwards. He got some chick pregnant, and he was already married, and his wife had cancer. So he's cheating on her while she has cancer, and he pays to have it go away. And he did get brought up on charges for that. But I don't even know if he went to jail. And I think, like what this guy was saying, I think he was prosecuted on the federal level. But somebody that worked for Trump paid the money, arguably, to say, hey, you're running as a right-wing candidate. That's allegedly the political faction of evangelicals and family values, and they're not going to vote for you if they find out. Like, this is going to hurt you politically. But he already said, when you're rich, they let you grab them by the pussy. They just let you, right? He's already married for the third time. He got a trophy wife, right? It's alleged that he wasn't, faithful during his time. He's a billionaire. Like, I don't think it would have mattered at all. People were already on the right going to vote for him because they liked his rhetoric. He was speaking to the actual issues that were important to so many people that neither the Democrats nor the Republicans addressed. Whether he was sincere or was going to make a sincere effort to actually bring it about, or he was just using the rhetoric as a means to get into power, who knows? That's the debate. But it definitely was seen as, this is going to help us to get elected if we make sure that she's silent. So this isn't anything completely out of the ordinary for politics, right? But I don't know that, anybody went to prison for it. Did it say John Edwards actually went to prison?
I didn't see anything where I didn't dig too deep into it, but I did
go that deep.
Yeah, I just looked up John Edwards.
Let me look it up.
And what's the John Edwards was like a court case or what was it?
It was because he paid some I know it was a scandal.
There we
let me
go.
just
That's
look
a
at
good word
did John Edwards go to prison?
A press release to admit that he fathered somebody's father Hunter's child. He got a hooker pregnant?
Yeah, man. Just like Drake.
Just like John Edwards and Drake, same guy.
Oh man. Riley Hunter apologizes for her affair with John Edwards. Rael Hunter? Nah, she doesn't look like a sex worker, bro. I mean, she was behaving like one.
No, you gotta be if you knew he was married at that point.
Oh yeah. She was definitely behaving like one. But
escaped a 30-year prison sentence, but lost the trust of the American people forever.
Oh,
so
well,
what
seems
was he
like
going to
a
get
good
a 30-year
trade-off.
prison?
Seems like a good trade-off. Either 30 years in prison, or you people will never trust me again. No, I don't see nothing about a crime. I'm just seeing love child. Why are they calling it a love child? He was just hitting it raw.
And it doesn't say why he was facing 30 years.
She still loves John 8 years after their affair. You know what I'm
This is
saying?
like the whitest thing.
Ain't good enough.
It really is. It really is.
If it was the other way around, she would not be in love with him 8 years later.
Gosh, dude, it seems so stupid.
Oh my God, humans are funny.
Well, he's the man. He's the man. He got a love child out of it, and she's still sprung. He wins.
I'm pretty sure he was cheating on the wife before cancer was involved. Cancer just happened to happen after the fact.
Okay, so he did. Edwards was indicted by a federal grand jury on 6 felony charges of violating multiple federal campaign contribution laws to cover up an extramarital affair, to which he eventually admitted. So they're trying to paint this as the same thing.
Okay.
But John Edwards did not go to prison.
So I'm guessing if these guys would have been paying the hookers, or, maybe she was just a regular little lady, but if they've been paying these women hush money out of their own pockets, it wouldn't be like no felony. It wouldn't be facing 30 years in prison.
But what's out of your own pocket if you're a public official?
That's true.
Well, it's easier, I guess, to explain it away because campaigns have a whole bunch of expenses. So it's a great way to launder money. Like you're always putting money out for TV ads and to pay staffers and consultants. So it's really easy to write you a check for $125,000 and have a reason for it.
What's this $125,000 to Chick-fil-A? Like, yeah. It's a lot of people working. We got to feed them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can spend $125,000 on Chick-fil-A?
But look, he made the right decision. He got away from 30 years of prison. He just lost the trust of the American people.
Who cares,
he won.
right? Just go back. He probably still banging hookers, bro. Go for it.
If only they gave that choice to felons.
Right. You want to go to jail for 35 years, or do you want the American public to never trust you again? I think I'll take the never trust me again.
Daquan, the American people are never going to trust you again.
Okay, I'm good with that.
I can live with it.
I'm good with that.
I'm serious.
Never.
All right, you're free to go.
In addition to all of that, there are other problems. Bragg would have to.
Is it?
Yeah.
What happened? Hold on, let me see here. No, that should be on.
It was playing earlier too, so that's weird that it cut off.
What are they doing? They don't want me playing no more. All right, let me stop this. Try it again.
To prove that Trump was personally involved in falsifying business records. Second of all, he'd have to prove that Trump understood the incredibly complex and convoluted campaign laws that nobody understands, and that having
nobody understands this stuff.
He intended to violate them. And then finally, they'd have to get around what's known as the dual purpose doctrine. That is to say, if Trump had a personal reason or even a commercial reason for paying the money to Stormy Daniels, then it is not under the law a campaign contribution, and he didn't violate anything. You know, the Department of Justice spent years looking at it. The Federal Elections Commission looked at it, and they both said the law isn't there and the facts don't support it.
So, yeah, this seems like just okay. At this point, with everything that we just saw and with everything you just explained, now it seems more likely that Trump set this up himself. Just lock me up, and that'll ensure that I win the next election.
He's right though.
Yeah, he'll come out of jail right before things get moving. He'll come out like Rocky with his hands in the air, jogging in place and shit. They tried to take me down. They couldn't stop us, and then you win automatically.
Well, the greatest helper that the black community has ever known, your friend and mine, Scott Adams, said that if they arrest him, they just made him the next president.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Which, you know, it's hard to disagree with, which is why it's kind of hard for me to believe that this is political calculus. The side that doesn't want him elected is colluding together and coordinating to have him arrested, to bring him up on charges. I mean, unless they really rig and pay off the jury and nobody finds out about it, it's going to be hard based on the evidence to get him convicted. Because as the dude outlined, and I don't know anything, in depth about the law. I'm not a fucking lawyer, not a real lawyer, just a caveman lawyer. But it sounds like in this crime, it's absolutely better than a fucking bird lawyer. But it sounds like in this instance, it's all about proving the intent. It's not just that it happened. It's not that you gave Stormy Daniels money. It's that your lawyer by proxy gave her money, and it was your intention to silence her for the express purposes of getting you elected. That's what it sounds like that they have to prove. Not just that they handed him money, but that he knew he was violating the law by giving her money, and that he gave her that money specifically because it was connected to him not wanting for it to interfere with his election. But he could have just have easily said, bitch, go away, I'm married. Right. You know, what man who's a billionaire wouldn't fuck a porn star, give her $100,000 to go away? To go away so you don't fuck up your marriage.
Well, there's
and
plenty
also,
of non-billionaire men who do
absolutely.
a lot less.
Yeah, dudes that aren't billionaires paid off the whole Visa card, paid off all the student debt. Bitch, just shut up and don't ruin my marriage. It's a thing. It's a thing. So he has another plausible reason for why he coordinated to have money to make this chick go away. Like, hey, don't ruin my marriage.
Gosh. Okay. Well, yeah, I think Trump's playing 5D chess here. He doesn't trust the voting machines. He doesn't trust the vote collections and the poll watcher. He doesn't trust any of that. So he wants to make it overwhelming landslide victory. Even if you try to cook the books, it's going to be too much cooking to do. Because he's galvanized. He's going to galvanize his audience by martyring himself without martyring himself. He's going to go to jail. He's going to get arrested. They're going to put him in handcuffs. And some nice rhetoric is going to come. He's already saying, take our country back. It's like, you're not even the president anymore. You're at this point now, you're just a guy getting arrested. And you're like, yep, this is it, guys. You know, we got to take our country back. Like, you know how many people get wrongfully arrested every day? Like, why is now the time to take our country back?
Well, because I'm arrested.
Yeah, because I'm getting arrested. I mean, you know.
It's just like the same thing with Kanye. It's like, all right, so when did you get this revelation about this black and Jew shit? When I lost my family. Right. And nobody got on social media to help me get my daughter back.
Right.
That's when it became personal. Now, black community, we must galvanize behind me and my message and my
hand
cause.
To hand.
Like, yeah. I want Gucci to make me head of their fashion department because I idolize them and I want to be on their team. And Gucci says, nah, no thank you. Up there racist. Now it's time to take them down. Well, when did you decide you wanted to take them down? When they refused to put me on their team.
Yeah, and I think that's why Kanye likes him so much, is that they have that same
narcissistic values.
It is narcissistic values, but specifically around using rhetoric that galvanizes people and makes them beloved and kind of makes them a champion. But really it's all about them. It's not really about the cause. It's not really about the people. But the rhetoric resonates with the people, and the residual love and accolades that you get on the back end, it's a fuel of sorts for them. So I don't know. I think if it goes to court, and even if you get a biased jury, I mean, it only takes a single person to make it to where they can't convict them. Everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, there's no evidence, you haven't proved your case, but I don't like them, so fuck it. You know,
that's not gonna work out well. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. The statute of limitations thing, how squarely to hold the law, like it, how old it just, none of it makes sense. It seems more likely this would be a better play if Trump did it to himself.
Yeah.
That would be a more intelligent, like, just if you look at it right down the middle and take all the details, it would look really stupid for his opposition to do this to him, but it would be pretty fucking clever for him to do it to himself.
But you're putting too much into his opposition. That's the problem.
Well, that could be. Like, are they that dumb?
These rich billionaires, power holders, are not as smart as we think they are.
Are they that stupid that they would put him in a position to galvanize himself to his audience and almost guarantee
the mothership is on Jupiter just watching it all? It's like, yeah, they got it.
Hey, I don't know, dude. I mean, I think Trump's doing it to himself. I'm convinced. Either that, or I'm supposed to believe that all the people who are orchestrating this from the other side, with all that power and all that influence, are just dummies. I mean,
been freestyling it ever since.
right? They're just doing shit. They just over there doing shit. Like, don't you know that this is gonna make him exactly what you don't want him to be? No, shut up. Arrest him. I don't know, man. I don't know. Trump seems like the type of guy. I don't know if he would have come up with this plan.
They should have just gave him his 4 years and then he couldn't do anything after that. But because he's able to run again and has the potential of being president, it's like a gift and a curse.
I don't know, man. I'm leaning the other way now. I really did. When I first started this, I was like, what are they doing to this guy, this poor guy? Now I'm like, okay. This looks more. Like I said, I don't think he would have been the person to create this plan. But I think if somebody brought it to him, he'd be like, you know what? That sounds good.
Go for it.
It just sounds like a better play to do this to yourself than it is a play for the people who are trying to. It wouldn't make any sense for them to do that. And like I said, unless we're just going to admit that they're completely stupid.
And let's say you wanted to launder a whole bunch of money. Let's just for argument's sake say, maybe the elites just put on a show. They don't really care. They all want to stay rich. And so it is like wrestling. You know what I mean? They do their political campaign speech, or even at the United Nations, we're talking shit about Russia. When I get you in the ring, Putin, on WrestleMania 17, when I finally get you there, I'm going to break your fucking pipeline, your Nord Stream. I'm going to suplex your Nord Stream, Putin. But in the end, it's like, really, we both need to launder money in Ukraine. We've got some biolabs there we kind of don't want anybody to know about. So we got to get some money pushed into there. And hey, you know what would be great? We get a whole team of engineers out there because Western Europe, they're going to need oil, right? And you're one of the main sources of oil. Now the oil can't get over there. Now they got to pay premium dollar to ship it in. And we got to send engineers that we're going to pay to reset up the pipeline. It needs to happen. It all needs to go down. And so it's just a way to inject all this capital into these companies that either fix pipelines or make missiles or whatever. So, $100 billion. Ukraine needs it. For what? Well, there's a couple things. They need to get armed. They also need to pay their, Social Security payments to the Ukrainian people. Oh, okay. So there's these channels of money to go out there. Who's to say, not just on politician to politician, Democrat to Republican, but even just on the world stage. Oh yeah, we're super duper going to go to war. We hate you. We buy everything from you, China, but we super duper hate you. We can't stand you. Basketball players basically play for China and run political cover for China. The movie industry does the same thing. But we're super duper enemies. We get everything we have, all our trinkets, all our gadgets. Everything. You make it all. Even when we had the pandemic, can you send us some masks? Can you send us some antibiotics,
the
please?
masks, the gowns, everything made in China. Everything.
Right, and they're like, nah, bro, we hate you, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Fuck you, you ain't getting shit. We're totally gonna take Taiwan and get all the microchips, suck my dick. And then really it's like, we'll send you another check. Just make sure we can keep bringing these experimental biological samples from your universities to our labs. Can we just do that? So all of these arrangements, it just feels like a big show. I wouldn't be surprised if the Democrats and the Republicans just put on a show. Rich people just put on a show. Yeah, we super duper hate each other, and when we get each other in the ring, we're gonna fuck each other up. I promise you. And it's all just hype. It's all, every time you see these motherfuckers on TV talking to the camera, just picture Mean Gene holding the microphone up to them.
All the
you know what I'm saying? My friends on the other side of the aisle. Like it's
pointing
it's a show,
and cussing. Man. Go get him. I'm coming for you, nigga.
I'm gonna murder you, brother.
And then they just go get drunk after everything's over.
They put on a show. They take everybody's money. People leave. They got a show, and then they go do cocaine together. It's professional wrestling.
I think that's the most mind fuck I've ever had as a child, is when you realize they all go have drinks afterwards.
No. Coke.
And coke, yeah.
They're doing coke and fucking
steroids.
yeah, they're steroids, coke, and loose women. That's the wrestler lifestyle. They live a nice life by pretending to hate each other. It's a game. They got more money than anybody in the audience. These politicians got more money than any of the people that they serve, but they'll convince you that they hate each other. So yeah, man, I just can't imagine if they really hate this dude, that their political calculus to have Joe Biden to cross with a little dementia shuffle across the finish line and be the president again, that they think this is the move that's going to get them there. They can't be that stupid.
I can't even imagine Biden doing another 4 years, but they let that one dude in Pennsylvania go. So.
Oh yeah, dude. That lets you know that the interests that run this country have nothing to do with the politicians. The politicians just do their bidding. They don't care who's in. They don't care if they've had a stroke. They don't care if they've had their fucking cranium removed. They don't care if they can speak. They don't care about anything. The fact that John Fetterman started a debate with, "Hello everyone, good night," and "I like the Eagles," and "I like the Eagles," and they were like, "Yo, make him one of the 100."
That was an edited whole thing, correct?
Make him one of the 100 most powerful people in the country. He has deciding votes in the Senate. He's more powerful than a congressman. He's a part of the body that's up there with the president and the Supreme Court.
You do the artwork in. You might as well just put politics and WWF and see what it comes out with.
U.S. politicians in the WWF.
Yes.
You absolutely could. You could create a whole scene of just these guys jumping off the top rope, wrestling each other. You could, because it's all theater. It's all theater.
What about getting some of those old like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Randy Savage shit talk sessions, but then overdub
deep fake over there
for the political talking?
That'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
That'd be absolutely beautiful. We might need to make that happen just to put things in perspective, to let people know what's really going on, or at least give them an idea of what's really going on. Because you can't guarantee it. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that this is exactly what it is. But it's pretty plausible if you ask me. It's pretty
on the
plausible.
outside looking in. It's
pretty it's more plausible than believing that they all just absolutely hate each other and can't get anything done. All the government's just throwing papers around and filibustering. Like that doesn't sound accurate to me. They all kind of, especially because
you
they're
have
all
a newscaster
engaging
in Fox News holding a piece of paper in her hands like she's about to do something with
They're
it.
all engaging in the same behaviors on both sides. So what is it that they actually don't like about each other? It doesn't make any sense. But either way, it's goofball shit, but we knew that already. Now we know that Trump's getting himself arrested just to secure his election. Allegedly.
Or the other guys thought of it. But somebody... It's not a good idea in the long run, because you're going to make him more into a martyr, unfortunately.
Right, but that's how it goes. That's what they want. They want a martyr. They want a hero who's larger than life. They don't want to just think that he's a regular guy. They want to know that he came from the trenches, even though he didn't. The trenches, like, when they arrested him for paying off the hooker, and then we, did some sightseeing and some boogalooing, and then we elected him. It's all fun and games, bro. It's all fun and games. A lot of theater. A lot of theatrical.
Isn't that crazy though? Like somebody actually put their heart and soul into correcting human beings, and they get killed and they become a martyr, and then a guy's like, "Yo, that shit worked out fucking well."
Right? Yeah, I like that.
Without dying.
Yeah, how can I do that without dying though? That's the question. Can I martyr myself without dying? Like, yeah, we could arrest you on some stupid charges, and then you could wait like 2 or 3 days and then get out. And
they're gonna just eat it up.
They'll eat it up. They'll eat it up. They're gonna tear shit down and burn stuff for a couple days. Maybe, because they might have learned their lesson. But if not, I don't know if they learned their lesson or not. But they're gonna be coming for it. We'll see.
And who knows? And I don't want to disrespect or demean the people that do like Trump. I know he's very polarizing.
Look,
I didn't
he
vote
has
for
some
him.
good and bad, but it's just some
like
people
everybody.
Don't like him. Some people just don't like him, unfortunately.
My thing is that the right people hated him. That's what made me say maybe that's the dude. And again, I'm not gonna be one way or the other. I know for sure, he's gonna resurrect Robert Kennedy and come and reclaim the office like QAnon predicted or whatever. I'm not saying that he's just the worst president ever and a complete treacherous piece of shit.
Compared to
that they
everybody
try to
else.
make him out to be. I'm open-minded either way. But yeah, I didn't vote for him the first time. But then the second time came around, I'm like, yo, the way that you guys lied on this dude, especially when the whole the medical shit happened, where he did something where like he cut drug costs. He did some kind of executive order before he left office to cut down the price of insulin and drug cost overall. And as soon as Biden got in, he reversed it.
Yeah.
But then later on, did some shit that was similar to get drug pricing down, to act like bitch, all you did was take something away and then replaced it with something not as effective and then wanted credit for it. But I was like, yo, so we're basically ran by drug dealers, right? Our news agencies are completely funded. Our entertainment shit, all the shit that's put out there in the mass communication spell to kind of lull us to sleep or to shape our opinion. All of that shit is funded by drug dealers. Like, they pay the politicians, they get the influence, they give the money, they pay for the ads, they keep all this shit afloat. They got an inordinate amount of sway over the decisions of the government and the priorities that the government makes. I mean, the right people hate them. The right people hate them. The military fucking hated them. They're like, yo, we want to stay in Afghanistan forever. I'm talking about the leaders. They lied to him.
Yeah. Because I talked to soldiers, they fucking love him. But yeah, the leaders,
they do.
Wanted to
But
stay. They wanted to stay.
Exactly. And not only did they want him to stay, they lied to this motherfucker and said, nope, it's impossible. We can't get him out. And then when he left office, they put out articles and laughed about it. Like, yeah, we lied to him so we wouldn't have to leave. He's so dumb and he let us do it. And then Biden gets them out, like what Trump wanted to do, fucks around and leaves all the guns. Right. You think that's an accident? We beam information over satellites. We covertly got the Afghans fucking arms when we wanted them to use it against Russia, but we didn't know we were leaving them military bases. Oh, sorry, boss. We forgot to take the tanks and the.
It costs too much to bring them back, bro. It's just logistics. It's not no Lord of War shit. It's not like we're funding a regime and that. No, that's not what it is. It just costs too much to bring them back. So we just just cut bait and leave them over there.
Dude, it's like living in a bad neighborhood and having a whole bunch of pit bulls. But while you're there, you keep them behind the fence. The gate's always closed. The wall is high enough. The pit bulls can't get out and terrorize the neighborhood. But then before you leave,
the humans are doing all this.
Right before you leave, you're like, all right, I'm moving out of this neighborhood. I'm not going to live here anymore. What's going to happen with the pit bulls? I surgically attached guns in all of their mouths. So every time they bark, there'll be these rapid fire bullets at all of the citizens here. Good luck, everybody. I'm leaving.
Thanks.
Like, you took a bunch of violent cave people and gave them state-of-the-art military gear to murder. And it's just like, all right, we're out of here now. Good luck.
Yeah, but
I hope
we left.
women learn how to read.
Yeah, we gave them the tools to murder, but we left though. So.
And do you watch like the videos when they go back to Afghanistan and talk to the people? Like, you see them wearing like all this high-tech military gear.
Right.
Man,
you
no
see
idea.
A dude in a turban and a nightgown with night vision goggles. Yo, these are night vision goggles that can see around half the latitude of the planet. But you rode up on a goat. You're on a goat back and showing up with all this gear. Something's not right.
You have to see those videos. They're fucking hilarious. It'd be like 5 guys, all in turbans, and then one, like, the leader of the group has like the night vision, everything, but there's no batteries. He's just
there's a Boston Dynamic robot standing there like, how did this get over here?
He's that's my goat.
Goats for him.
Yeah, it's my goat. It's another goat. That's all.
They left it here. What do you want us to do?
That's Robo Goat. Yeah, that's Robo Goat. That's what they call him.
So it does it herds all the goats and then it does backflips. Like, it puts on a little dance show.
That's what Boston Dynamics was doing all these years.
Dude, it plays Big Pimpin' out of a little speaker.
Yeah, they found a way to attach an iPad to it. They playing Busta Rhymes A-Rap music, blasting through the fucking desert.
Got A-Rap money.
Getting A-Rap money.
Yo, did y'all hear what Biden said about when this Silicon Bank went out and everybody wants their money? He said, "I'm sorry, you invested in something, it didn't work out, so you lose money. That's how capitalism works." And I'm like, what about the airlines and the other? Like, it's hilarious when it's regular people. That's how capitalism works.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, but
but
if it's a
that's
corporation,
fine,
they're like,
but-
"Oh, no, we got you, bro.
Yeah,
What do you
we got
need?
you.
We got you."
Nah, but that's not how it went down, though. In actuality, the way that it went down is China has billions of dollars in that bank. Nancy Pelosi, Gavin Newsom, people that are connected have money in that bank. That shit was immediately bailed out. They all got their money back.
Silicon Bank was?
Absolutely. We could look it up.
Oh, well, you looked on the news saying it wasn't going to happen like 2 days ago. He said,
Dude,
"You're not getting
it
money."
happened almost immediately.
So
They're
the big people with the
Prince
big
Henry's
money.
got the money in there too. Meghan Markle and Prince Henry got their money in that bank.
But everybody else is screwed.
Look, if they could make Jeffrey Epstein disappear, they're gonna get their money back. They're not gonna be like, "Oops, guess I lost my money." Like they pulled all the levers of power.
Man, I'm convinced too that FTX thing was COINTELPRO, man.
Oh, it was CIA all day. Absolutely.
Easy. Like, and when I talk to people about that, it's so crazy to me. People don't know American history, man. They don't look. And it's like, if you not watched anything ever on YouTube, like, how do you not know that these programs exist? And if they can topple a whole government, you don't think they can topple, a financial system that's like, was handing in their ass, by the way, for almost 2 years. Like, fiat was looking like it was in trouble. They had to do something. And now, bro, nobody trusts crypto. No one wants to work. And
unless you're selling cocaine, it's still a liable.
It's actually not. It's actually on the rise, man. Bitcoin's kind of killing.
Yeah, it's up.
Now.
It was down to like 18 grand in the last couple of months,
It's
and
like
now it shot up to 27.
Right now.
It's at 27.
It's awesome.
That's crazy. It just shows you that that floor is not going anywhere. So,
and everything is falling apart. So
they're gonna have to run to crypto. They're gonna have to, bro. When the system crumbles, which I would assume, there's no way that our system doesn't totally kind of go to one knee in the next 36 months. Like, there's no way. The dollar is dead, bro. I know people in Mexico. I'm thinking about moving to DR. I'm not even joking, dude. I'm not even playing.
Dominican Republic?
Hell yeah. My barber's from DR, and he owns 3 houses there. He was saying that
he needs the American dream.
Listen, man. Nah, bro. People, don't believe the hype, bro. Same in Mexico. I got homies down in Mexico. They're like, bro, whole families out at midnight eating and barbecuing. Like, we've been told it's like, oh, it's super dangerous in DR. Don't go down there. There's a reason for that. We take our American money there and we can live for real. He said that a 3-bedroom house on the water is $600 a month. And I work from home, bro. Fuck this shit. You kidding me? I'm paying $2,000 for basically a parking spot right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy in LA. Inflation is outrageous. Everybody I know is moving to Belize, Mexico. Everybody's getting out. It's happening. If you don't think it's happening, you're crazy. Look around, bro. We had a good run. It's over. We had a good run, bro. We had a good solid 200 years, but we fucked it off. We fucked up. We just kept trying to be the Romans, and that shit it's not sustainable. Nobody trusts us. Everybody, it's a joke, bro. It's a reality show out here.
Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's somebody in the chat asked if we think it's gonna collapse within a month. I don't think it's gonna be that fast. We've been on the decline.
5 years probably.
Busta Rhymes prophesized and told us there's only 4 years left.
That was 20 years ago.
And everybody was like, right, well, the year 2000. But the world did fundamentally change. Yes. How do we know it wasn't like, okay, the year 2000, we have to get the whole 2000 in. And then in 2001, planes hit the tower, the Patriot Act goes on, right? We start spending money like crazy and spreading ourselves so thin that it begins this controlled collapse. Like where
the world ending. The world ending is poetic though. Like, what does that mean? Everybody thinks that they watch too many movies. You know what I'm saying? Like, The world
Well,
as we know
polar
it's
shift.
drastically different.
Yeah,
Exactly.
polar
2012
shift.
is when. Yes.
Oh, go ahead. My bad.
2012 is when that happened. No, I'm agreeing with you. Go ahead.
No. Polar shift is when it's really over. And if you're not living in a cave, you're just getting shook off the earth. Like when the globe goes through a real transformation. But as far as like the power dynamics of the world and like the controlled collapse of the U.S. and the tightening of like you said, people don't know their history, right? And when COINTELPRO was happening, it was like it's just happening to the bleeps and the really uppity ones. So we're gonna look the other way. It's not a big deal. They would never do it to us. Okay, they're just toppling a country and controlling their elections. But there's a lot of bleeps and brown bleeps, and it's their country. And what do they know anyway? It's who cares? It's not us.
Yeah.
We're just. And then eventually, these planes. Seems they hit the World Trade Center, the symbol of global commerce. It's toppled from New York, the Empire State. Oh no, it fell down. Well, what does that mean? We're gonna need to be in your emails and your phone nonstop all the time and collect all the data and know everything.
No problem, sure.
They're playing a long game, bro.
Take it.
They're playing a long game. They're playing a very, very long game. These things have been in the plans
Absolutely.
for hundreds and hundreds of years, bro. They don't play this. They look at that's what's up with wealth too. If you want to be wealthy, you got to look at things in decades, not in 3-year
Look
plans.
at what China's doing
where
right
am I
now.
gonna,
That'll be us.
exactly. They've been on that, bro. They've been on that, and so this game is playing out the way they wanted it to. But man, crypto. That's why all of this new technology, AI especially, is a game changer. And if you can get your fucking head on straight right now, you can make a lot of money very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
This is like the printing press. This is bigger than the printing press. This is bigger than the internet. People don't want to talk about it because they're scared of it, because they're scared of themselves. You know what I'm saying? If you hate AI, you hate humans. Like it's a human invention that we pumped all of our
That's
information.
gonna teach us to hate us.
No,
well,
that's a
it's
fact.
showing us
That's
we
the
ain't
idea.
shit.
That's the idea. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm sorry.
No, it's a
It's
fact.
showing us we ain't shit.
That's what
It's
people are
showing us
so
we ain't-
afraid of it, because it's mirroring all these ideas. Like, when people say AI, it's going to take over the world and enslave us, it's like, it sounds like you're projecting. This is what humans have been trying to do to each other since prehistory. So we
doing it right now.
Right. This
Doing
is
it
all
right
we've ever
now.
tried to do to each other. So the worst that you can imagine AI doing is what we've already done to each other and continue to do. So it's like, what are you so afraid of? The shit's
The
already
only
happened.
way it knows about it. It's
Right.
the only way it knows about it is because it's us. It's us.
Yeah.
It's we did that. That's our thing. But what we feed it is what we get back. So once again, it comes down to us as individuals and as a society. Like, what do you care about? What do you want to see? Like, do that thing. Like, do that. Put that into the machine, and that's what you'll get out. But if you're still just trying to collect all the toys and cowrie shells, you're teaching this crazy fucking conscious entity to destroy us. And that's why we have to heal. We have to.
Destroy us
I
for
do
our
think-
own good.
I think
Yeah,
I always revert
Terminate.
back to biblical philosophy, and it just seems like the conflict is between what's natural and the bubble that we've created. And what I mean by that is, like, if you don't got to take shit literally, and we can get into like interpretations and the
masters.
nuance of what definitely. But why is commerce considered something bad? So if you think about the natural, according to it, I'm not arguing whether it really happened or it's literal or whatever. If you just take the essence of the message, human beings at some point weren't building cities. There was some sort of harmonious natural balance, right? And I think that definitely points to like simple equilibrium of you just going out foraging, right? You get some food, but you're subsisting. You're not getting so much that you can raise an army. You can take care of yourself, your family, your village. You got enough, right? That natural order is like what all of the animal kingdom is on.
Yeah.
Ecosystems, balance, this creature eats that creature, and there's no moral animus behind it. It's not like the lion is a dick. He's like, I'm hungry. You don't call a lion a serial killer. Right. You don't call a walrus a serial rapist. We don't even use the word rape when we talk about the animal kingdom. because it's just the way things are. There's just this natural primal impulse to existence. But then as soon as you introduce the ability to catalog things, to number things, to name things, oh, we figured out the cycles of the sun, and now the first god gets introduced, agriculture, right? We have some sort of knowledge and some sort of system that there's no longer a natural balance. We know how to just plant rows of shit. We can plant rows and rows and rows of shit. And yeah, it may fuck up and deplete the soil and be Pandora's box and open up a whole bunch of other problems, but we solved this. And then it goes to hurting animals. And then it goes, Cain murders Abel, and then all of a sudden he's going from city to city. They start building cities. And so if you think about the natural state of humans and the metaphor of the Garden of Eden, everything was just provided for you. That's some sort of connection and relationship tied directly to nature. And what intervenes between that natural relationship between nature? I know God said you could eat any tree, the fruit here or whatever, and it's just free. And but listen, we own that tree now. What do you mean you own the tree? I don't even understand. Because we wrote it down. We wrote down that we own this plot of land. Yeah, but I don't understand.
I've been here for generations. My whole family.
Doesn't matter.
My father, my sister.
We wrote it down.
Okay, can I see your deed? Oh, you don't have a deed. You don't even speak the language that we speak. Let me ask you a question. Where's the guns? Do you have any guns? Well, then we'll be taking our shit.
Yeah.
And so why does this language have any meaning? Because it was decreed by the king, and he's basically like God on earth. So we have that. So how do I don't understand. I used to come here and pick grapes every day. Yeah, that's not happening anymore. So how do I get the grapes? I'm glad you asked. You need to give me
some blankets.
There's a form you got to fill out to get the grapes.
Even better.
Take the form, and here's these blankets.
Give me a picture of the king. Well, I don't know how to make pictures of the king. Well, I learned metallurgy and you don't. So I've got the little metal trinkets with the king's face, and that's how you're going to eat. And without the king's face, you can't have shit, because the king's word said this tree belongs to him. So if you want to get some of this fruit, we're going to need you to fight some wars. We're going to need you to rough some people up as police officers.
I do the prophet, or the modern day prophet Andrew Tate. I was watching a video of him. Bro, he's dropping some knowledge about this Mexican fisherman, and it's like a story. You guys might have heard this, but the Mexican fisherman goes out and he catches one fish, right? And the American fisherman's like, "Why do you only catch one fish?" He's like, "Well, because it only takes me a little while to get one fish. I bring it back to my family. We cook it and eat it and hang out on the beach and have wine." And he's like, No. You got to go out there and get as many of those fish as possible so you can sell it for profit. He goes, "Okay, well, what do you do after that?" He's like, "Next thing you do is you get a fleet of boats and you continue to get more and more fishermen." Right. He's like, "Okay, what do you do after that?" He's like, "Well, then your company becomes so big, you sell it on the stock exchange." He's like, "Well, how long is this going to take?" He's like, "Oh, about 20 years. He goes, "Well, what happens when you sell the company?" He's like, "Well, then you retire, go to the beach and drink wine and eat fish with your family."
Right. That's what I'm doing now,
like,
doofus.
Bro, yeah, do the thing. Like, it's not, right? And it's, what it is it's the sickness of separation. We don't realize, like you said, that everything is unfurling and emerging for us every moment. And if you can live in the joyous place of creation and love and connectivity, dude, shit just happens. But I've tried to build a business, bro. It's hard. It's hard not to get caught up because it's so finely crafted and plays on all of our neurosis, right? Human, the mind, the need. I truly believe it's on its way out. I don't know exactly how long that's going to be. It could be another 300 years for all I know. But if you can't see the writing on the wall that everyone's starting to look around and be like, Jesus, man, like this doesn't really work.
The circle continues till the sun explodes.
The nigga's up.
Yeah.
There's been the grifting, and it's been.
Oh, dude, that should be the name of this episode.
The
that'll get some.
The nigga's up. Yeah, you got to.
That's a fire ass album. That sounds like an excellent album.
The Mothership.
The nigga's up, bro.
The nigga's up.
The nigga's over. The nigga's over.
Look, but what you said it perfectly. It's exactly that. We're here to have an experience to be connected with nature and to be connected with each other. And the moment that that's taken away, what do we have? The knowledge of good and evil. What is the knowledge of good and evil? It's the law.
Separation.
It's the law. And once humans started crafting laws and minting coins, now we channel human energy. Now we can build computers. Now we can fight wars. And what it was sold as is like, look, we can have a lot more if you're willing to have this system. And look what the system does. It serves you. You don't have to plant those crops. Don't work so hard. You could be a man of leisure. We'll get robots. We'll get slaves. We'll get microwaves. Look at all the magical shit we could do. Let's take the fishing boat example, right? Now I got a fleet of fish. We're running out of fish. We're all going to starve. We're not living in balance and the fisheries are getting depleted. Who gives a fuck? We'll figure out how to make fish in a petri dish.
Right.
And we'll just keep doing it. We don't give a fuck.
I also don't think it has to be as dualistic, right?
It doesn't have to be.
No, because the way that we're evolving is also God and the natural order. Like the way that humans are evolving now is outside of flesh and bone. Our evolution is happening through technology and through consciousness, and really
live forever.
What AI is really showing us, the reason AI is so scary, this is why it's so scary to artists, to lawyers, to whoever, is that it's breaking the fourth dimension of time. It's basically saying, oh, how long did it take you to learn how to paint? Well, watch me do something better than you in 3 minutes or less, 30 seconds.
What is time, though? So
that's what I'm
doing
saying.
Anything that's
it's teaching
unnatural.
us about manifestation. It's teaching us how dense the third dimension is. It's teaching us about elevating our consciousness. And that is also the law of the universe. The law of the universe is not flesh and bone. You know what I'm saying? That's what goes on here. But the law of the universe is vibration and polarity and all these other ancient ways to understand the universe. It doesn't have to do with just Earth's atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? There's a larger body, and we're a part of that. And I believe like this mothership thing that we're going to talk about, aliens, whatever you want to call them, are species that did what we're doing millions of years ago, potentially, or even 10, 20, 30, 50, 100,000 years ago. They evolved, and that's why they're all tiny little humanoids. Now, do I want to remain big with a nice sized penis and have amazing sex and fucking drink wine? I would love to stay like that. But I don't think that's actually the natural evolution of sentient humanoid species. Like, I think we all eventually end up with some form of AI or some form of consciousness that exists outside of our bodies. Because if we believe in God or we believe in anything spiritual, that's what is going on anyways. You know, our physical bodies are like toenails, right, on a larger body. I really believe that. It doesn't end and begin with the physical human body. It's amazing, and I think we need to honor it. And it's not like we get rid of it. It's not like, goodbye, body, I'm going in the metaverse to live there. I don't think that's healthy either.
Earth is a strip club, and you want to stay. So
yeah, but to demonize it, I think, is a mistake. We need to harness it.
What it does is it serves a mechanism to enforce desired behaviors with external pressures. It's the Babylonian model, right? So if the change comes from within, it's different. But if the change comes from the pressure without, that's not truly a change. That doesn't change a human being. That threatens and coerces a human being. And so that's the fundamental difference, right? Does the change come from within and we live in balance with nature? Or do we continue this model that gives us power and it gives us the ability to exert our will over other people? Oh, you don't like this law? Cool. I'm going to put a gun to your head. Like, I'm going to make sure that this tower reaches heaven. I'm going to be like God. I'm going to live forever, even if it's through a robotic consciousness. I'm not going to die. Fuck the natural order. Fuck entropy or whatever it's called, entropy. Shit is not breaking down. I'm going to find a way to conquer it. Like I said, if I overfish the fisheries, I'll make this shit in a laboratory. I don't give a fuck. This is YouTube technology. I got my shit. I will not be stopped. This tower is going to reach the heavens.
But I mean, I have a question. How do we know living to 90 years old is the natural order? Like, how do we know that that's not a result of some sort of DNA malfunction? And I'm telling you, this stuff is going to start coming out. Like, it's about to get really wacky.
But here's the problem.
It's the food and stuff that we eat. That's why we live as long.
That's a part of it. But this has always been humanity's problem for as long as we've been writing shit down. We get the technological piece down first before we get the spiritual piece down.
Yeah,
and it results. We get this technology to do stupid shit for more conveniences, for more time, for more violence, for more time taken away from our families. Like, look at that model that you described with the fishermen, right? If living under that model, you're the priest of your home, you're spending all the time with your wife and your children, and you're pouring your knowledge into them. You're like a living Bible, downloading that consciousness. No computers, and you preserve it and you pass it on, and you're living in balance with nature, right? And you don't need to take from anybody else because nature provides for you in abundance, right? But under this model, I'm taken away from my family. My family is being raised by somebody else, the school system, the government, whatever. And I serve this system. It gives me all these technological conveniences, but spiritually it leaves me empty. There's no meaning here. And what do we get at the end of this day? We get all this technology, we get all this wealth that a handful of people enjoy. It's a model that doesn't need people to fundamentally change and get better. It just needs them to participate, and it doesn't care if they get better. So like when we can get into the Essenes and all kinds of shit, whether you think it's a story or whether you think it's literal, but the concept, when Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven doesn't come with observation, neither will men point in the sky and say, there it is within you. And so people say, oh, well, Jesus was rejected by the Jews because he wasn't the Messiah that they thought they were going to have. Well, they never explain to you what they mean by that. And the original Yahweh model was, yo, I'm your God. Fuck those other gods. Build a statue of me. I'm the real shit. Break into their shit. No, you don't understand. I give you permission. Take their women, take their cattle, take their land. I super duper promise I gave it to you. It's like a dude that drives up in a car and says, yo, I brought you this car. It's for you. And then it's like, well, who's that dude tied up in the back? Don't worry about that. It's like, you stole this.
Yo, Yahweh was Mussolini out here, bro.
So it makes you think, like, is that really the God? Like think about it. Because that's the model that all of the nations were. That's the model. How do we go against other tribes and take their shit? Well, we can't live in balance and harmony with the earth anymore. We got to start making a surplus. We got to start having agriculture. We got to start having manufacturing. We got to start on metallurgy. We got to organize under these rules and principles that make us efficient rapists and killers to take other people's shit, and then we'll conquer them. So, of course, under that model, it's like, well, Rome conquered us. Well, what do? We got to murder them and conquer them. But isn't that just going to be more of a cycle of conquering and violence? Oh, yeah. But listen, we're God's chosen people. We're supposed to be the murderers. It's supposed to be our shit. But nobody says, like, maybe this model of murdering and taking shit isn't the right way. But that's the game. That was the primal infant. Well, exactly. And it's become more sophisticated. It's become more efficient. But fundamentally, the spiritual principles that act as guideposts to govern how it operates, it manifests in different ways, but it's the same shit. It's the same shit. It's commerce, it's warfare, it's these sophisticated things that humans think, oh, this makes us special. This is civilization. Nah, it's the shit that makes us a beast. It's not civilized. It's actually violent. But it's sophisticated in such a way that we think, oh, we're higher than our animal selves. But really, the outcome is animalistic shit. We're isolated from our family. So the difference is, under that model that Jesus was referencing, right, we're going to kill the Romans like they killed us. And it's like, look, you see the way the Goyim exercise authority over one another, right? They boss each other around. That's not how it works with this in the kingdom, this metaphysics.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, so this is just something I always try to figure out. I try to ask the questions to myself, but I could never get what you guys seem like. So, like, you have one half of the world who pretty much tilled the land so much, you know, you had the Jews, everybody came together. And then you have the other side of the planet, you know, South America, Brazil, and they created this natural order, and they created like all these things. But like in the long run, like they were like killing each other off no better than the people across from them. They just didn't have the guns.
They was just doing layups while people
Yeah.
in Europe was learning how to dunk.
They weren't dunking. Yeah,
Yeah,
They
basically.
didn't,
So, yeah.
because they didn't have the technology, but they had the same principles. They had a priestly class. They had the peasantry. They had some sort of rules or organization or rituals to galvanize the people. They had a set of rules. They had magical peoples. Hey, I'm going to go behind this curtain and talk to
All
God.
with
You can't
slingshots.
talk to him, but
All
I'll
with
tell you what he
slingshots.
said. And let's all follow it. So if you look,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, so the alternative is, okay, well, if we're not going to murder them and take their shit, well, then what's your plan? What's your plan, Jesus, if it's not to violently overthrow them? I'll tell you what we're going to do. Sell all you have and give to the poor. Hey, you're a soldier. This is what you're going to do. Don't be greedy for money. Be content with your wages. And here's another thing. Don't do violence to any man. Just off of those two things, if you lived in a world where human beings rejected the notion that I can't get to the tree unless I have the coin, money immediately becomes pointless overnight. Rich people are no longer rich. The system collapses because there's no longer confidence in the con game, right? Now, God said the trees belong to me. I don't need your system. I don't need the coin. You eliminate the concept of money. You eliminate the concept of the rich and the powerful. Well, if you do that, they're going to send their goons to kill you. Well, if the soldiers are like, I'm not going to do violence to anybody. Yeah, but I pay you. Cool, but money's not worth anything anymore. And by the way, I'm not going to do violence to anybody. These dudes that have all this shit, they're not going out thugging and gooning on their own. The people that pull the strings, they rely on people to be desperate for money, to be scared, right? Oh, you're not going to have food. So what does it say? If you're not willing to even lose your life, you cannot follow me. Because if you can be manipulated by the fear of death, by the fear of starving, then you're going to continue to be coerced by this system. But if the kingdom is within you and people awaken and connect with it and like, nah, I don't need these external pressures because I see how y'all get down. You coerce people. You use violence. You use intimidation.
That's happening right now.
Absolutely.
I think, and I know leading into our next topic, but like real quick, like there's this whole, the chakra system. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah.
And it isn't just an individual.
That's that shit with Naruto, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's not just an individual thing, right? It's a collective thing. And so the root chakra is your basic primal needs. Your sacral is sexual reproduction and sexuality. Then the solar plexus is social identity, separate identity. I'm here, you're there. The heart is unity, and the 7 Hermetic principles line up with the chakras perfectly as well. And the heart chakra is polarity. So what we're doing, what we're all headed into is breaking the bounds of duality. And we've been in the solar plexus for so long, and that's where the war and the cultural, even all the cancel culture, that's all solar plexus, right? And right now, I truly believe that we've crossed over in this text called the Law of One. It's a channeled text, and they believe that this planetary complex, basically similar to the AI. So imagine we're dumping all of our information into this computer, and at some point, the computer is going to have the consciousness of everybody on our planet. Whatever, I don't know how it happens, but that becomes a sentient being that can speak or be channeled as an individual idea. But it's all the poets, all the warriors, all the mothers, all in this one consciousness. So this was channeled back in the 80s. And they explain all the dimensions. They call them densities and all this crazy shit. I won't go too far into it. But they have this thing
it's the
where
Kabbalah.
but it's prior to that. It's where tarot comes from. I believe that they're called Ra. They call themselves Ra. So you do the math. Like, I believe it's the Kemetic, Atlantean, all of that is from this entity, whatever you want to call it. But they basically say that when 51% of a population chooses service to others over service to self, we start to elevate into the 4th density, which is the heart chakra, which is where we start to break through the time barrier, which is what AI is doing, which is why I think all these UFO things are happening. It's not that I believe they've always been there, but we have raised our vibration high enough that they're visible to us now. We're seeing it more. They've always been there. Like, if they're multidimensional, it's not a coincidence. Now, do I also think the government is going to use it as a tool to scare people and manipulate people? Of course. I think that's definitely part of it. But we're moving to, like, bro, shit is about to, like Terrence McKenna said, like, it's going to get so wacky. And if you would have told me, I dropped a thing last year called AOI, Artificial Intelligence. I had no idea Midjourney was coming. No clue. You know how different our world looks from this time last year even? Like how quickly things are moving and how fast these jobs will quote unquote disappear, because it's pushing us to the beach to be the fisherman who only catches one fish. Right. It's pushing us out of this system because it's not where the heart is located. It's not where unity is. You know, that idea of separation is our sickness. It's why we kill each other. It's why we steal. It's why we rape. It's why we murder. You know, and so it's exciting, but it's also, dude, terrifying, especially for people who haven't done any inner spiritual work and they're super tied to the system and they drink every weekend and eat fucking whatever they want to eat and they have no concept of a larger body of consciousness. It's going to be hard for them, you know. And anyways, I was kind of trying to lead into this whole mothership thing too, because I'm excited to talk about that.
You know, I thought the shit was pretty amazing. I mean, when I first looked at it, my first thought was, there's no possible way that any official document or anything like that used those words. Like this might be something that people taking and running with it. You see this pretty often. Somebody will be like, oh, there's an unidentified object in the sky, and people start spinning narratives about aliens and what they look like and what they're here for and what's going to happen. And it's like, the definition of what they said is like, we don't know what the fuck it is. It said it's unidentified object. So to start taking leaps and explaining what people think, that's just what people do, right? And it's a boring conversation to be like, oh, what is it? Nobody knows. That's the end of the conversation. And then when I looked at it, I looked at a bunch of news clips, I looked at a bunch of shit, and nobody posted any links to the document itself. Nobody said anything. It was just some words they used. They said mothership. They said something about it might be in the atmosphere and it might send probes out. I was like, hold on, buddy. You got to slow down. Like, you can't just say, okay, mothership, and it might be sending probes. Like, how is anybody coming to any of these conclusions assuming that the information that we have is accurate? Because if you start saying shit like that, you're presupposing a lot of other things.
The study's a Pentagon study, and the two people doing it are not like hack jobs. One of them is like the head of the physics department at Harvard. You know what I'm saying? Now, I haven't seen the actual document, right? But like, it's on 50 credible news sources, and they're using the word mothership. So
Is there such thing as a credible news source, though?
Nah, but I mean. Yeah.
You said scientists too, and all I could think was islands. So I don't know.
Right. I mean, these were all the people that met with Epstein. They told us not to take ivermectin. Look, it could be legit, but like what you're describing when you talk about, so like people say as above, so below, right?
Yeah. The law of correspondence. That's the third Hermetic principle. Yes.
Well, really, what it should be, because there is no heaven up in the sky. And when you talk about the universe, what is really up? So really what it should be translated is, as in that dimension, so in this dimension.
Well, it is. Nobody finishes it. It's as above, so below, as within, so without.
And so without.
Yeah.
Exact. So,
but it's scalable. It's not. We're inside of a larger being. It's not like there's anything out there. We're like little tardigrades in a larger being. Like the Earth is a subatomic particle. Right.
Well, we're also God consciousness trapped in animal meat suits.
Just like your blood cells are technically you.
Right, and it's all information, right? So we have information in our mind that we've ascribed letters and numbers to make sense of it, so we can make sense and manipulate the outside world. But the most complicated language that exists is in our DNA. That is biological information. That's absolutely a language. And when you go to sleep and you dream, what are you doing? You're speaking a language. You're telling yourself a story. So this is all stories that we're living out and we're experiencing and operating as we're kind of partners in this God consciousness that we have, that the rest of the species that we've encountered don't seem to be involved with or have access to.
That's where the hubris of the Western mind is tripping. When you talk to the Lakotas, you talk to the Aztecas, bro, they believe that crows are conscious. Like, if you
have a degree of instinctual consciousness, absolutely.
Bro, but I mean, again, who are we? What are
Dolphins
we doing? Do we have an
love to
antenna?
rape, so
Do we have an antenna to measure their consciousness?
No, but where are their books? They can't write shit down. This is
but again, back to how important is that?
I've never seen a crow wearing Jordans either. Just saying.
Exactly.
They ain't got no shoes.
Well, yeah, because Jordans is definitely the hallmark of wisdom.
Yeah,
Y'all don't pay no rent.
no,
shit everywhere.
I never
I'll
seen a
give
crow
you that.
getting a latte at Starbucks. What are they doing with their lives, bro?
Yeah, a crow never locked up underage crows to rape them repeatedly in his basement. They're not as sophisticated as humans.
They eat their babies, so they're bad.
No, but what I really believe that, like, first of all, I think it's a foregone conclusion that there's other conscious life. Like, it would be
I definitely
crazy.
believe there's levels to this,
Dude,
whatever we
It
call
would
this
be
shit.
crazy. Think about this. Think about this.
Yeah.
If you step on an anthill, right? You step on an anthill, that's an act of God for those ants. They have no idea that you're a human being.
Ants.
And think of the scale, right? That's what that's what as above, so below really means. It's scale. It should be called the law of scale. You know, if you zoom out, and that's why fractals are so prevalent right now, the Mandelbrats, all that, because that's actually what's happening on the other side of this user interface. So the idea that we're being visited, to me, is a foregone conclusion. I think whether it's a mothership and they know where it's at or all that, that's just talk. But what it begs the question of, because even a year and a half ago, there was some giant metal, I don't know if it was metal, but it was made out of something that was not biological looking 2 years ago or whatever it was, floated by our atmosphere. I think it's hubris. It's a high level of hubris to think that our measuring techniques are that in depth. We can't barely see any of the light spectrum, dude.
Of course not. But the hallmark of the Tower of Babylon wasn't its humility. Like, this is par for the course of how we think and how this system persists. What I was saying is to what you were saying, like the as within, so without, as above, so below, or rather, as in that dimension, so in this one. What I'm referring to is when you talk about those kinds of ideas, you're talking about the Kabbalah. You're talking about the emanations of consciousness.
I know you want to say that you're Jewish, but it was before the Kabbalah, bro. They took it from the.
We wrote everything. Everybody stole it from us.
Racist ass Jews.
They copyrighted it. Come on, man.
They copyrighted it.
It's just like war. It's just like war. Like everybody, like the British conquered Europe because they walked on a straight line.
But that's the power of writing shit down.
And then you had a motherfucker who's like, listen, they're gonna keep walking the straight line. Let's just shoot them. Go hide.
Right.
Come back around.
Listen,
shoot them again. It's all a circle. It's all.
I've been eating from this orange tree, and my father's been eating from this orange tree. And yeah, but you never wrote it down. You never wrote it down that you owned it. So there's something about, hey, Adam, name all the animals. There's something about Jews writing the shit down that gave it its power. You're explaining something that's out there and could be deduced, right? And it's been analyzed from different angles and carried out in different narratives, but it's something that we got credit for because we compiled it and ordered it. And
people wrote it down too. That stuff was lost in Alexandria. You can't just act like y'all were the only ones that wrote it down.
Hey man,
like
they did.
I'm not even saying y'all.
They did a better job keeping the paperwork together.
My official position is Kyrie is the real Jew, not me. That's my official position. Kanye 2024. That's my official position. But what I mean is like in Ezekiel when it talks about the circles within circles, right? People are like, oh shit, that's a UFO. Nah, it's the Kabbalah. It's talking about emanations. And what I mean is there's a reflection or a representation, even of a principle, but it reflects off from a dimension we can't see. Like it's what you're talking about, frequency and vibrations. So this shit exists. And what I wanted to do was put another coin in the Alex Jar was right shit. So when he talks about interdimensional pedophiles, he's right. It is. We're talking about spaceships and all this other shit. It's like, nah, it is some shit that's already existing within us that some people are more tuned into, that can see. than what others can, right? But I absolutely, and this is why, and we talked about this before too, there's a reason why the Book of Enoch wasn't kept in the official shit. There's the reason why some of the Gnostics but they don't count. We already know. We dismiss them. But that goes into the detail of, okay, well, where did human beings get these higher operating principles that made them like God on earth? The concept of naming shit, making a leader, having a priesthood, being able to do metallurgy, charting the stars, the plant. These organizational principles, which you find in every culture as a pantheon of gods, are really just concept and ideas that make us into this competitive, sophisticated beast shit where we can account for everything.
But it's sophisticated, but to say it's even sophisticated, so like
it's more sophisticated than what we had when we first
the third dimension
awoke the consciousness.
The third dimension is the sacral chakra. It's that, you're in Florida, I'm in California, you're over there,
allegedly.
I'm over here. But like, if we're in the third dimension, we're acting as if like this is the quintessential place of existence.
Yeah.
So there's a version of you in all the dimensions.
Oh, wait, okay. But before we do that, we just have to deal with, so these are leaps that we take according to belief systems that we accept. That's not observable by any metric that we test the rest of our lives with. You don't test that the same way you test the fuel that you put in your car. The fuel that you put in your car is objectively going to run your engine. The fact that the idea that there's a version of us that exists in every dimension a little bit, these are ideas that people have collected over time. It may sound plausible, but it's not something that we can treat with the same, because it technically is being presented without evidence. It's an idea. It's an idea.
Subvertence for this idea.
It's being presented without evidence, and anything that can be presented without evidence can be rejected without evidence. That's just the way it works. If you just say, "I got a purple dragon at home," somebody could just say, "I don't think you do." No, you don't. You got to.
If you don't show it, right?
Yeah, you got to be able to double down on it. Now, if it's just your own belief system, it's just the way that you deal with the world. It's perfect to convince yourself. Personal experience is perfect to convince you. But it can't be brought to the table with the same eyes and ears that we observe the rest of our world with.
Of course not. And
I think it's the same thing. No, I think it's the same thing to say there's nothing out there and to say there's something out there and I know exactly what it is.
This ancient text.
It's fucking flugel rods from 76 trillion light years away, and they came to teach us about our ancient self. Like, that's a huge leap on both ends, to say that there's nothing and to say that you know exactly what's going on out there. Because either way, we're both making unprovable assumptions. To posit either side, you're making an unprovable assumption. So
right.
But electromagnetic communication was unprovable 40 years ago. Like, we're on our way. You know what I'm saying? Because like we can't poke it with the stick doesn't mean we don't that's what's wrong with our materialistic kind of mechanistic version of our society, and why we're all fucking broke and sick and can't do shit is because we've bought fully into entropy, that nothing happens afterwards, and that get it while the getting is good, and build your fence. And
that produces,
you know what I'm saying? So like I'm agreeing with you, but I think we're in a time where all that shit is about to be upended rather quickly. Like, just think of what's going on with art right now. AI. Did you think that was possible 2 years ago? I fucking didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, time is we're about to break a lot of these barriers, and so that's why I think we're being visited. And the Pentagon used the word alien mothership. I'm confident that's going to be in a piece of fucking literature, whether that's real or not. Think about that. The Pentagon were denying UFOs 5 years ago.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. And all I'm saying is our ancestors, in admittedly various texts, talked about.
They've told us that they've been here already.
Right.
They even showed us pyramids.
but like, even, and we could get into
stones that we can't cut even till today. Like, this shit has been here. It's gonna be here. Whatever they're fucking doing to us. Is it helping us? Because, I don't want to bring rape because we say rape a lot.
Nah, it's just butt stuff. It's butt stuff.
Come on,
get it out of
butt
us.
stuff.
We know what it is.
A little bit of butt stuff.
Butt
can't
stuff
fight.
face.
We can't
and I'm not claiming anything is 100%.
Yeah.
I'm just talking